Hi guys, it is Aoife from Fred Was Like Laughing and I'm here with another weekly wrap up. I got to read 4 books in total this week, and before I tell you all about them I want to tell you about a giveaway that I'm hosting. I am part of the blog tour for The Last Horseman by David Gilman. This is about a man in Dublin, Ireland in the 1900s, and his son goes and joins the British Army and runs off to South Africa to fight in the Boer War. And it's about this man who is an American and a lawyer living in Ireland, but he ends up going to South Africa to try and find his son and bring him home. And it's just their kind of tale. It's kind of a family saga slash obviously a bit of a drama, a bit of wartime heroics and stuff like that, and I'm about 100 pages in right now and I'm actually really enjoying it. So I was asked by the publisher if I wanted to host a giveaway and I said yes, of course, because I knew that a lot of my subscribers would probably want to be in with a chance to win this book. So I am going to put up my review for this book on September 8th. So until then, until kind of early morning September 7th, I'm going to give you guys the chance to comment on this video. So if you comment below and say I want to be entered, I will enter all the names and I will pull out a name when I film my review for this book, or obviously I will tack on a little bit at the end where I'm pulling out a name before I post it on September 8th. I'll let you guys know, and then you guys can contact me, whoever wins, and I will pass on your details to the publisher. So I'm doing this at the start of the video now so I can get that out of the way. Please comment below if you want to be entered into the giveaway for this book. As I said, I'm about 100 pages in and it's actually really good, really well written so far, and I actually am really excited to see where it goes. So that is that. The first book I finished this week was the ThreeBody Problem by Jin Liu. I'm not actually sure if I'm saying that right because it is a Chinese name, so I'm probably really butchering it and I'm really sorry. I actually forgot to look up how it was pronounced. So this is a little bit of a weird book to explain. It is originally written in Chinese and it has been recently translated into English. The whole trilogy has been translated into English, and where to start with this one. So this book follows 2 different kind of perspectives. First we have a woman who is she basically witnesses her father being beaten to death during the Cultural Revolution of China, and she's kind of brought into this kind of work camp slash government base to work, and all these weird things are happening. And then it's like 40 years later and there's this other man who's a nanoscientist, and he kind of gets dragged into this police investigation where they're trying to figure out why all these scientists are turning up dead, seemingly by taking their own life, and they feel that there's something weird going on. And then this guy ends up finding out this game called the ThreeBody game, I think it is, and he basically is trying to solve this online game, and he thinks that it has something to do with why all these scientists are dying, and basically it seems to have the answer to a lot of different things that are going on in the world. This was just really full of science. It was jam-packed with science, jam-packed with physics, and I wasn't smart enough to really get the book. Like, I felt for a lot of the time I didn't really understand what they were talking about. Kind of like I could follow the story and I knew what was going on and I was quite enjoying the story, but there was just so much of it that did go over my head and that I didn't understand. And I did science in secondary school, I did biology and chemistry, and I quite enjoyed them. But this is like science on another level and I just couldn't quite follow on with it. However, saying that, I did quite enjoy the story, and I think I will continue on with it. But and it was translated really well. I should say that it was translated really well. But I gave it a 3 stars because I couldn't really give it any more, considering my enjoyment of it was kind of halted at one point because there was such a scientific feel to it. So that was a 3 stars, and I do have the second book that I got from the publishers, so that is why I read this one, so I could go on and read that one. So hopefully I will get to that one soon. The next book I read was a NetGalley book that I got, and it was The Perfect Girl by Gilly Macmilan. You guys probably know that name because last week I read Burnt Paper Sky by Gilly Macmilan and I really loved it. I gave it 5 stars, and this is her new book, so I managed to get a copy of this from NetGalley. And this is about a girl who is 17 and basically when she was 14 years old she was in an accident that ended up killing three of her friends or three of her schoolmates, and she actually went to kind of a juvenile detention centre for 18 months to kind of, she was a convicted killer basically, so she's kind of starting to rebuild her life. Her and her mum have kind of rebuilt their lives, have kind of changed their names, they're trying to kind of move on, and there's this one day where things kind of start coming out into the open, and then that morning her mom is found dead in the garden, and then it kind of all goes from there. We're kind of learning through flashbacks what actually went on when she was 14 with these kids that ended up dying, and then we're trying to learn what happened the night before as well to her mother, and it's kind of all building up to the big reveal basically. So I did enjoy this. I wasn't as gripped to it as I was with Burnt Paper Sky, but there was kind of a different feel to it. I felt really sorry for this girl for a lot of the book. I just felt like just the things that happened to her had been quite terrible, and she was being blamed for so much, where she was so young when this thing happened to her, and you know, we've been told that it was an accident, but a lot of people didn't really believe her. They seemed to think that she'd done it on purpose, and she was being really kind of vilified for it by a lot of people, by the community, and it just was really hard for her, and I just felt really sorry for her. Like, she was only a teenager, so there was a lot of sympathy from me as a reader towards this girl. There was a huge problem, I think, though, with this one with communication. It had that kind of problem where the characters just aren't talking to each other and just aren't saying what they need to say, even to the police at parts, and it just is really frustrating as a reader. I find that as a reader really frustrating when characters just won't talk to each other. But I was quite gripped to it. I wasn't as gripped, as I said, with her other book, but I did enjoy it. I did like the reveal. I could kind of guess some of what was going to happen. I kind of had this tiddly feeling in the back of my mind that what was going to be revealed, like that was going to happen. So I wasn't completely surprised by the end of it, but I still did enjoy how it all came about. I do think there is a quote at the front of this book where it's like, you know, if you like the girl on the train, you're going to like this, and I just feel like this is a huge problem when it comes to mystery/thriller books like this, because The Girl on the Train and Gone Girl are such huge books now, and I think if you compare any kind of book to The Girl on the Train or Gone Girl, you're immediately setting up the reader for disappointment, and I just feel like that needs to stop. I feel like, I don't know where, you know, just saying a book is suspenseful or a book is thrilling wasn't enough anymore. I don't know why they always have to compare it to these other books. They have such a huge reputation. So I wouldn't compare this to The Girl on the Train, and I wouldn't compare it to Gone Girl, but as a book in its own right, it is pretty thrilling, it is quite gripping, and if you are into mysteries and thrillers, I would go and read it, because Gilly Macmilan's writing is really good, and it's very enjoyable, and it really grips you until the very end, and you just have to know what happens. So for that, job well done. 3.5/4 stars. The next book I read was also a NetGalley book, and it is Downcast by Cait Reynolds. This is a Persephone and Hades retelling set in high school. So it is about a girl called Stephanie who is basically being controlled by her mother. Her mother is really controlling, kind of won't let her do anything like by herself, would hardly even let her go to school. Everything has to be approved by her before this girl does it, and for the most part she does. She's pretty happy just to let her mum control her. She doesn't even realise that she's doing it really, and then one day she's in school at the start of senior year, and there's two new boys in school, and there's Zach and Hayley, and all these kind of weird things start happening. They don't seem completely normal, and then things start happening with the weather, and then Stephanie starts feeling that she might not be so normal, and her relationship with Hayley is really intense from the get-go. There's a lot of chemistry, there's this connection straight away, and she kind of feels like there's something going on between them, but there's something that Hayley isn't really telling her, and obviously it kind of goes from there. I did really enjoy this. The writing wasn't the best writing I've ever read, but I felt like it was quite gripping. I did want to keep reading. I felt like it did kind of stall in the middle, where it kind of dragged on for a bit, the story. Like, I feel there probably was a chunk in the middle that probably could have been taken out or rewritten to be a little bit more thrilling, because it did seem to kind of just stop for a while, and I got a little bit bored, and I just kind of wanted the story to keep moving. I really liked her female friendship in this book. She had a best friend who was great, really supportive. They were really great for each other, and I just really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed reading that, because you don't get that so much in YA, so I really did like that. So overall I did really enjoy it, and I gave it a 3.5 give it a 3 stars. And then the last book I finished this week was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Buddy read this with Cherry over at Cherry Walker, and I will link her below. And I'm sure a lot of people know what this book is about. It's set in a kind of fantasy world. There are silver bloods who have powers, there are the red bloods who are just normal human beings, and the reds are basically almost enslaved by the silvers. And then there's this girl called Mare who ends up finding out that she isn't quite a red, but she's not quite a silver, she's like something in between, and it kind of goes from there. So I have heard so much kind of mixed reviews about this book, so I didn't really know what to expect going into it. It was kind of one of the reasons I think why it took me so long to pick it up as well, because I just was really unsure about it. But I actually ended up enjoying it a lot. I think the start of this book could be rewritten because so much of it is so like the Hunger Games. Like, you have Mare, who is the poor girl who has to do some illegal things to help out her family. She has a perfect sister who's blonde and gorgeous. And then she has the best friend who's male, and, you know, her partner in crime sometimes, and he was just basically like Gale. Like, I just kept, every time he came, I kept calling him Gale, like in my head, he was just Gale. The writing in this I thought was really good. It really kept me gripped. I kept turning the pages. I didn't really enjoy the romance in it. The romance didn't really bite for me. The character of Mare herself, who's the main character, I wasn't actually mad about either. I didn't think she was particularly, I don't think she had a really great personality. I don't really felt like I had a feel of her. She didn't really seem kind of inspiring or attractive or anything like that. I just didn't really have much feelings for her. I just liked everything else that was going on in the book, and I really enjoyed kind of the silvers and their powers and stuff like that, because I'm just a sucker for that kind of thing in a book. I just really, really love it. So I loved hearing about that, and I loved hearing about her training and how it was going on and stuff like that, because I just love those kind of things. So I did really enjoy that. So yes, I did enjoy it. And I will go on and read the other ones. I will read the novella and the second book and the third book when it comes out. So I'm looking forward to seeing where the story goes. So I gave this a 3.25 stars because I literally just couldn't decide between a 3 stars and a 3.5. So I've gone with 3.25, which I haven't really given a lot of lately. So this is a 3.25 stars. So yeah. And then, as you guys know, the book I'm reading at the moment is The Last Horseman by David Gilman, and I will tell you all about that in my review at some point next week. And yes, so thank you guys for watching. Please don't forget to leave a comment down below if you would like to be entered into the giveaway for The Last Horseman, and tell me all about the books you've been reading this week. See you guys again next time. Bye!